Welcome everybody to Train Tuesday. I'm your host Jim Wiggin with Athearn Trains, and so glad you could join us. By now you've probably seen or heard what we're doing at the NMRA show, and hopefully if you had a chance to stop by and see Mark and Janik this past weekend. If not, check out our YouTube channel. We've got a special video there of some new things that we announced, and something for everyone, something in HO and N scale as well. So if you're catching us on the live stream, thanks for joining us. We apologize for the sound difficulties we had last night. Apparently there was an update that knocked out the sound, even though we had tested the video before uploading it. However, you're in luck. We are going to rebroadcast this, and so this is not the original video. This is the new video. We're going to be talking about Athearn as well as Roundhouse tonight. So thank you for joining us on the live stream. If you are catching us on the YouTube channel, thank you so much for joining us. If you like the content, please consider to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll know when future videos are added to our catalog. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about some Athearn cars that the guys have been working on. These are the Athearn HO Ortner 5-bay hoppers. Now, there's only a few days left to get these pre-ordered. So go ahead and contact your dealer, your Athearn dealer, to order these. Let's talk a little bit about these cars, what roads we are going to announce for this month, what road numbers we're going to announce, as well as some of the updates the guys have put into these models. So on your screen there, you'll see that the top photo or top image is of Union Pacific. Now, this is a late 2000s era car. This is car number 94450. Now, for this run, we're going to be doing multi-packs. And there's going to be 3 different multi-packs, so it'll be real easy to make a unit train with these. You're going to have multi-pack number 1. This will include road numbers. Get your pencils out. 94451, 94459, 94463, 94468, and 94472. Unipack or multi-pack number 2 is going to include car numbers 94476, 94479, 94481, 94487, and 94493. Now, the trend here that you probably caught on is there are no duplicate road numbers, but since this is a special release, I wanted to go ahead and just give you those road numbers. You can also see these on our website. That being said, without sounding like a numbers channel, and if you're old enough to remember what that is, go ahead and grab yourself a cold beverage. Multipack number 3 is going to include car numbers 94480, 94485, 94492, 94496, and then finally 94500. Take a look in the middle of the screen there. You will see a car painted up for a 1978 era South Mississippi Electric Power. Now, Mississippi Power Company was founded back in 1925, and then in 1949, Southern Company was established as a holding company for 4 utilities, one of which included Mississippi Power Company. Now, formerly known as Mississippi Power Company from 1925 to 1976, the company shortened its name to Mississippi Power and has maintained that name ever since, including this 1978 era car. Of course, you can use these right up through the 1980s. The car that we have pictured here is car number 7810, and we're going to have 3 different multi-packs for this car as well. Now, multi-pack number 1, you're going to have road numbers 7817, 7821, 7833, 7840, and then finally 7845. Multi-pack number 2 will include card numbers 7818, 7822, 7836, 7841, and 7844. And then finally, multi-pack number 3 will include card numbers 7820, 7830, 7840, 7842, and 7848. Now, the reporting marks on these cars is SMEX, and you can order these until the end of the month, which, believe it or not, is right around the corner. We got Friday, September 1st. Finally, you're going to see Colorado and Wyoming here. This is a car that's been painted and lettered for a 1971 era car. Obviously can be used throughout the 1970s. Now, founded in 1899, the Colorado and Wyoming Railway was a subsidiary of the Everest North America and hauls coal, ore, and steel products on about 5 miles of track inside the Everest Pueblo, Colorado Steel Mills facility. And this was formerly the Colorado Fuel and Irons Maniqua plant. If I'm saying that correctly, great. If not, I apologize. It's not my neck of the woods. Now, this is in Pueblo, Colorado, and it connects to the Union Pacific Railroad as well as the BNSF Railway. The railway used to be much larger. It was serving the CF&I mills. And an interesting thing, these steel mills were the only vertically integrated steel mills west of the Rockies until World War II. Kind of a neat little setup there. Now here you have the reporting mark CW and the car number is 103. It too will have 3 separate multi-packs. Multi-pack number 1 will include car numbers 107, 112, 118, 123, 139. Multi-pack number 2 will include car numbers 141, 149, 156, 166, and 173. Finally, multi-pack number 3 will include car numbers 171, 175, 178, 180, and finally 184. Well, those are just 3 of the ones that we're going to be offering this month for pre-order. We have 3 more that I want to show you. Now, coming up there at the top, that really cool black with kind of the lime green stripe. This is the South Kansas and Oklahoma. Now, this car here is painted and lettered for a late 2000s era car. Now, South Kansas and Oklahoma Railroad, their reporting marks are SKOL. They're a short line railroad which operates 511 miles of rail lines in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri that used to belong to Missouri Pacific, Frisco, and the Santa Fe. Now, the SKOL is a unit of Watco. The present railroad was created in July of 2000 when Watco merged with one short line railroad, this one being the Southeast Kansas Railroad, and their reporting marks were SEKR. They were merged with another short line, the South Kansas and Oklahoma Railroad, with the South Kansas and Oklahoma being the surviving company. Now, the car that you see here is offered as a single. This is car number 78692. Of course, the reporting marks are SKOL. Multi-pack number 1 will include the following car numbers: 78582, 78597, 78677, 78705, and 78730. Multi-pack number 2 will include car numbers 78600, 78746, 78764, 78801, and 78820. The final multi-pack will include car numbers 78777, 78779, 78787, 78805, and 78812. Now, if you're just joining us, you're not late for bingo. What I'm doing is I'm rating off the actual car numbers and not only the singles, but the multi-packs. We get a lot of questions on, are you duplicating road numbers? And we are not doing that, not on these. This way you can build your fleet. That middle car, this is the ITEL Corporation. This is painted and lettered for a 1970s era car. So of course you can use this throughout the 1970s into the 80s. ITEL Corporation is a diversified transportation and logistics company. The company also began extensive investment in railcar and intermodal container leasing, starting with the 1968 acquisition of SSI Container Corp. Other related expansion included the June of 1970 formation of SSI Trailer Corporation, the February 1973 organization of SSI Navigation, the November 1973 acquisition of MJB Management Corporation, and the subsidiary Transportation Management Services Incorporated, And then finally, the May 1975 formation of SSI Rail Corporation to lease freight cars throughout the United States rail system. Here we've got SSIX 5085. That is a car being offered as a single. Like the other cars that we feature tonight, there are 3 different multi-packs. Multi-pack number 1 will include car numbers 5091, 5094, 5098, 5099, 5101. Multi-pack number 2 will include car numbers 5100, 5102, 5107, 5110, and 5127. Finally, the last multi-pack for ITEL Corporation is going to include card numbers 5103, 5104, 5111, 5114, and 5129. And then last but not least on our cars and roads that we're offering for this run is USS Cumberland Mine. Now this car is painted and lettered for a car that was in service in the late 1970s, so plausible to run these into the 80s with very little change. The Cumberland Mine Railroad is a private carrier mine railroad serving the Cumberland Coal Resources Mine near Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. Operations on the mine and associated railroad began in November of 1976. The line was originally developed by United States Steel as a source of steam coal for export to Canada. Subsequently, the mine and the railroad have changed hands several times. As of January 2021, they are owned by Iron Synergy Holding LLC, and this coal is being consumed by domestic power plants. So these colorful cars are being offered in the single that you see here, which is reporting marks USSX. This is car number 1. If you go with the multi-packs, multi-pack number 1 will include car numbers 4, 6, 27, 29, and 31. Multi-pack number 2 will include car numbers 9, 12, 17, 20, and 25. And then finally, multi-pack number 3 will include car numbers 30, 37, 42, 50, and 54. Now, like I said, you can see all the details on our website under the new announcements. I do know that link was broken the other day. However, the web team has successfully fixed that, so you can go to our website, select the new announcements, and see everything that we're offering here, as well as the other items that we have for pre-order until Friday, September 1st. Let's talk about the features, and then we're going to talk about the new features that product development packed into these cars. Like last time, these will all include removable loads. All the 5 packs come with unique road numbers. If you don't believe me, just back up this video and you'll hear me go through all of them. Separately applied brake wheel and grab irons are on the side ladders. Accurately painted and printed for prototypical realism. Machined metal wheels with the RP25 contours. And the minimum radius on these is 18 inches. Now, some of the new features that have been packed into this, they have new tooling. It's all new tooling, and the desire there is with the new tooling is to increase the fidelity of the model. They're now going to include separately applied metal grab irons and end cages, so those ended railings are no longer molded on like they were in the previous runs. These are now going to have separately applied pieces. Detail train brake line piping, which is really kind of cool in an Athearn car. Really, there's not much more you could do to make this a Genesis model. Maybe add the air hoses and the cut lever, but for the most part, we put that brake detail in there for even more authenticity. Etched stainless steel brake wheel platforms, and of course, this is the coolest thing, accurately scaled hopper door linkage with reshaped weight for better see-through effect, which these cars feature. Now, MSRP on these for the singles is $47.99. The 5-pack, they are going to MSRP at $214.99. Now remember, this is MSRP. I say this over and over and over again to the point where I almost match my shirt. This is MSRP. This is not the actual price. You need to contact your dealer to see what that price is. So there you have it. Almost a brand new car, not quite, but a lot of work's been put into these. I'm really looking forward to seeing these come up in just about a year. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about Roundhouse. This is Athearn Roundhouse, and these cars are 50-foot double sliding door boxcars. And we're going to do the same thing with these. In fact, everything I'm going to talk about tonight is available as a single or a multi-pack. Why? Because we see a lot of you guys are buying the multi-packs. Here we've got Northern Pacific. This is a 1955 era car. This is car number 6531. Now, not only are we offering this as a single, not only are we offering these as multi-packs, but we're offering the multi-packs with different artwork. So let's go ahead and show you the two different types that we're doing with Northern Pacific. Here's multi-pack number 1. You can see the rather traditional Northern Pacific paint scheme. And there's 4 cars in there. I'm not going to run through all of the road numbers like I did with the hoppers, but you can see that on our website. And here is multi-pack number 2. So this is a great way to add not only to your collection, but add a little bit of variety to these as well. And since they are Roundhouse, they're great for taking to shows if you're part of a modular club, or if you've got some younger modelers in the family. These are perfect for that. They're not quite as delicate as the Athearn or Genesis. Coming up next is the Union Pacific. This is their B-specific paint scheme that they're so famous for. This is a 1950s era freight car. So guys that are into transition or steam, you're going to want to take note on these. This is car number 554375. And again, we're going to do the B-specific in both the single as well as the multi-pack. We're also doing the Road of the Streamliners in the multi-pack. So we'll go to that slide next. Here you go. 4 different cars with that artwork, all with separate or differently applied road numbers. And there we go. Here's this B-specific paint scheme coming up next. So a little bit of variety with the Union Pacific. Again, 1950s car. Perfect for you guys that are in the transition era or steam era. Now, including big names. Santa Fe is always one of our popular ones. We get a lot of requests for it. And this one is no different. Again, steam guys, take note. This is a 1940s era car. This is mid to late 1940s. The first one that we've got here, this is the Super Chief. This is car number 10327. Of course, this particular car is being offered as a single. And we like that artwork of the Super Chief so much, we thought, you know what, maybe we should do that as a multi-pack. So that's exactly what we did. Here we've got the multi-pack. And we did one other paint scheme. We did the next multi-pack in the El Capitan. Really cool paint scheme. And again, 1940s era. They would definitely last into the early 50s. So steam guys, there you go. Little variety for your fleet. For those in the middle of the country, we've got some Rock Island cars for you. The Rocket paint scheme. These were really cool. So again, this is going to be your 1940s era. So if you're modeling steam or early transition to diesel, these are perfect for that. This is car number 262915. We're doing 2 different multi-packs on these as well. We're going to be doing the 100 years of service as well as the Rocket Freight. And again, keep in mind, all of the road numbers are individual. There's no duplicates in here. So here we've got the 100 years of service and the Rocket. So there you go, Rock Island fans. If you're modeling the 1940s into the 50s, you're going to want to grab some of these. All right, let's stick to the Midwest and let's check out the Burlington, which did not only the Midwest, but everywhere west. And we're doing this single car. This is a 1957 era car when the CB&Q went over to the Chinese red. And a very striking paint scheme. Simple but striking. This is 9507. This is the one being offered in the multi-pack. We're also going to offer that in the multi-pack as well. And then we're going to back up the clock just a little bit. Earlier era, these are the Everywhere West cars. This was a very popular paint scheme with the CB&Q. So again, 1950s, more the later 1950s when you go with the Chinese red, but still, you know, you're looking at transition era cars. And finally, we have the Wabash. And the Wabash, of course, had that famous slogan, follow the flag. And that's what we're doing here. Here's the Wabash flag logo. This is car number 20920. And we've got a combination of paint schemes that we're going to do here. In multi-pack number 1, we've got the flag with the heart. And then we've also got the standard follow the flag logo and slogan. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the features of these cars. Remember, these are Athearn Roundhouse, so the details are going to be largely molded on. They're a little bit more rugged. They're a little bit easier for younger modelers to handle without breakage. And the reason why I like them is you can take them to shows and not really have to worry about all those intricate parts that a Genesis or an Athearn model would have breaking off in transport or maybe by some eager hands in the crowd. So, of course, these are going to be weighted for optimum performance. They are all going to feature the machined RP25 profile 33-inch metal wheel sets. McHenry scale knuckle spring couplers are installed. And, of course, these are fully assembled. They're ready to go. Just put them on your layout. Now, you might want to weather them, depending on what area you're modeling. And, of course, the nice thing about these is even though they're roundhouse, they still have the razor-sharp printing and painting that you see on Athearn as well as Genesis cars. Minimum radius on these for you guys with small layouts is 18 inches. MSRP on these, $31.99 for the individual boxcar, $109.99 for the 4-pack. Again, please talk to your dealer for that price. That is just full on MSRP. Now we're going to stick with Roundhouse tonight. And we're going to go back in time. We're going to do some really cool early 36-foot Wood Reefers. A lot of guys were asking for these. So there's still a good segment of you guys that are modeling an earlier time. And so, of course, this is going to be full on steam era. And we've got multi-packs for these as well as singles. So what we have here is the Pacific Fruit Express. That's the top one. This is appropriate for about 1910 to 1940 era. And this is car number 4632. Of course, this is the single that we're going to be offering. But we're also going to be offering these in multi-packs of 4. Now, I'm not going to read through all the road numbers. You can find out on our website. But there are 2 different multi-packs. And they all, of course, will have individual road numbers. There won't be any duplicates there. Right underneath it is the Santa Fe Reefer, and this is 1926 to 1940 era. This is car number 20869, and like the former car, this is going to be available in 2 different multi-packs of 4. Real colorful era of railroading, so you're going to want to, if you're in that era, you're going to want to pick up a few of these. Coming up next is American Refrigerator Transit. Their reporting marks are ART. This is car number 224, and you can run this from 1940 to 1950. Probably a little bit of bleed over on either end, but definitely a really neat car for the steam era, going real early into the transition era. Of course, this one is also going to have 2 multi-packs. There's 4 different cars with 4 different road numbers in that pack. Then we've also got the California Fruit Express. Their reporting marks are CFX, and this is car number 28516. Now, this is a car that's also appropriate between 1940 and 1950, and it too will include 2 multi-packs. Here's some more really colorful 34-foot cars. The first one that we have there at the top, that is the Swift Meat Packing Company. 1950 to, believe it or not, 1960. This car and its reporting marks are SRLX 2782 is available as a single, and likewise, two different multi-packs for this. Contact your dealer again. We'll talk about pricing in just a moment. And then finally, another colorful car, St. Joseph Packing. 1910 to 1940 is an appropriate range on these particular cars. Their reporting marks are SJPX, and this is car number 112. Now, this too will have two different multi-packs, 4 cars, with individual non-duplicated road numbers. Now, the features on these cars, they're, of course, like the other cars that we feature, weighted for optimum performance. These two will have machined RP25 profile 33-inch metal wheel sets. You're also going to have the McHenry knuckle couplers, and minimum radius on these guys, 18 inches, of course. So if you get a small layout, then you're all set. And a lot of guys really do that have the smaller layouts. They appreciate this era because obviously freight cars were shorter, they were smaller, so it makes operations a little bit more interesting. Of course, back then too, more switching was done with trains. Trucks hadn't really entered the picture as of yet. So it's an interesting era of modeling. If you don't know much about it, I encourage you to do some searches on there. There's been some great model railroads based on this era, and it will definitely give you some ideas. So, like I was saying, MSRP on these for the singles, we're looking at $34.99, and the 4-pack is $114.99. Again, that's MSRP, so talk to your dealer, see what kind of pricing he is willing to give you. All right, and the final car that we're going to talk about tonight, it is also a roundhouse. It is the Athearn Roundhouse. This is the 34-foot offset hoppers. Now, this particular car is a CNI car. It is road number 162. And if you really like this car, it is still available. It is in stock. Its part number is RND 1282. You can look that up through your dealer. We've got a limited supply of these. They are selling quickly, so if this is a car that you just got to add to your collection, that is the part number, RND 1282. And let's talk about what we're going to be offering in this run. Now, something that we're doing a little bit differently, in the last run, obviously we ran those in singles. We find that the multi-packs in these sell better than the singles. So this time we're offering 2 different multi-packs for you to choose from or to buy combined to add to your fleet. So here we've got the Baltimore and Ohio car. This is the multi-pack. This is multi-pack number 1 of 2. And operating error on this is about 1940 to 1970. Coming up next is Canadian Pacific. Believe it or not, 1970s. We're going to have 2 different multi-packs here pictured as multi-pack number 1, and there's also multi-pack number 2. Going from 1962 to roughly 1975, right into the early years of the Burlington Northern era, are these great Northern cars. This is multi-pack number 1. We'll also have multi-pack number 2. And yeah, you know, they were used into the 70s, well into the Burlington Northern era. These probably did not get to see a repaint just due to their age. However, there's always an exception out there. Santa Fe is next. These cars here are perfect for modelers of 1952 into 1970. Of course, there's always a little bit of bleed over there, but that is the large modeling range. This is multi-pack number 1, and we're also going to do multi-pack number 2 for the Santa Fe. 1940 to 1970, these are the Northern Pacific cars. Simple but sharp looking cars. Multi-pack number 1 is pictured here. Multi-pack number 2, same thing. You're going to have 4 cars with non-duplicating road numbers. And then finally, we've got the Southern Railway. These are appropriate for guys that are modeling around 1950 to 1970. This is multi-pack number 1. Of course, there is also a second multi-pack. So we've got some roads for East Coast, Southern, West Coast, everything in between this month. We've got a little bit of everything. We try to hit as many of the major areas of the country as possible. Even though we're accused of it, we don't have a West Coast bias. And actually, the Athearn team is made up of folks from the East Coast, the Midwest, and the West Coast. So we try to get a pretty good balance. And again, we do listen to your emails that come in through the Athearn product suggestion email. So thank you if you've taken part of that. I appreciate it. And the guys in product development really appreciate it. So the features on these cars, we're looking at a removable coal load, separately applied brake wheel, but since they are Athearn Roundhouse, all the grab irons and things of that nature, they are molded on. Again, this is part of the Athearn Roundhouse line. They are, however, going to have body-mounted couplers. Those are going to be the McHenrys, of course, and the wheels will be metal. They are going to have the RP25 contours. That's a nice feature to have. They are weighted for optimum performance. And again, just like the other Roundhouse cars and the Athearn cars and the Genesis cars, they're going to have that razor sharp printing and really nicely painted bodies. Obviously, the minimum radius on these is pretty obvious, 18 inches. So if you got a small layout, you can definitely put these on here. But you guys that are part of a modular club, this is a really great excuse to buy the multi-packs and make a really impressive coal train. So these are just available in 4-packs, like I said, and the MSRP on these is $119.99. So contact your dealer for your price, and that will conclude all of the stuff that I've got, not only for tonight, but also for August. And hard to believe that August is just about over. So you've got until Friday, September 1st to place your pre-orders on all the items that I talked about tonight. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for maybe a quick refresher on the other items that we're featuring this month. We are going to be a little bit late in offering the September offerings. We're not going to do it on September 1st. We're going to do it the following Friday. I believe that's the 8th. We'll take note of our social media. We'll be broadcasting that on there. And before you know it, I'll be announcing all the cool September stuff. So there you have it. Apologize for the first video not showing or not letting you hear what I was saying. It was equally as frustrating for myself as well as you. So we apologize for that. Hopefully no more updates. Until next time, everyone, I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, do some good modeling, and above all,